how I got here. I'd say 3 people: my dad, Caroline Mutoko, and Waithaka. What happened was, my dad is always, those people who don't want you to get it wrong because they got it wrong. Yeah. So my dad has always been like, you know what, Gathoni, this is what you're supposed to do. I did it wrong, so do it right. So I got to know about money from a very young age, about investment, about bonds, about talk it all, yeah. And for me, it was like all the other young people have said, I have all my life to figure this out, so just leave me alone. And I graduated and got a job, and the job gave me almost 6 times the salary I thought I would get. So first of all, it's a shocker. You've never handled that kind of money, and you don't know what you're doing with it. And okay, so that's the time you're like, okay, Dad, now you remember that advice you were giving me. And you see, again, you don't tell your parents how much you're earning, because again, wataanza kukupangia pesa yako. So it's like, Dad, you remember that advice you're giving me? So can we get this advice? And then he was like, see, now I was busy. Let's panga like this, so that you tell me. No, you see, in that avenue, you are actually going to end up opening up how much you're earning. So I was like, no. And I remember my boss told me, Purity, the way you're handling your money, in about 2 years you're gonna be broke. You see that you have a lot of money, you have all the good clothes you want, all the good bags, you're planning to do this, you're going to do that, you're gonna be broke. So I was like, so what am I supposed to do? So they told me, check Centonomy. And I knew Centonomy from campus. I was in Daystar and I was like, the same old story. And Waithaka was on what is this show called? On KTN, on Hot 96. It's normally a breakfast show. I don't know what it's called. And he was talking about how our country has a very bad spending culture. And the people he was describing, it was exactly me. Like, it's like he knew Purity Gathoni from somewhere and you are the example. So I was like, okay, I am really spending money badly. And then, the way God just works things together. When I was on YouTube, I saw Caroline Mutoko talking about basically making money, how much when you have money in your, you tend to think that it'll never end. So I decided again, there's this open day, let's go see what's good about this thing. It trades. I was like, but the bed. Then Mama was like, no, remember you had plans and it's your New Year resolution that you're going to handle your finances better, right? So just go. So I went. Thank God I did, because if there is someone who really made me decide today is the day I don't care where I was supposed to do things, I'm going to get this Centonomy thing, I was going to do it. So in January I had goals, bucket list, things I was supposed to get. I was supposed to do my drone classes, I was supposed to start my masters, I was supposed to do all those things. But then I was like, all of these finances, that means I have them. But where have they been sitting? Because the moment I started to pick these bills, this money was not lacking, right? And so I sat down and was like, okay, let's just go do this, register for this Centonomy. While I was talking about how the open day was, I got a call from Centonomy and an email. We've given you 50% discount for the Centonomy class. I was like, God, I was asking if I was supposed to do Centonomy. This is my answer. I just sent the M-Pesa paid, and my dad was like, is it really worth it? That is also still impulse spending because you hadn't planned for it. I was like, no, because I had already said this year I'm going to be intentional. That's not impulse spending, because you had spoken about how impulse spending is, and if you had thought about it and then it's on offer, that's not impulse spending. So I took, and then my dad was like, there's one thing I don't like about Gathoni. He used to say that he makes you feel like there's nothing you're doing with your life. And I was like, but honestly, if you look at what you've learned, why are you doing anything right? Exactly. So I said, okay, I'm not going to jump on this bandwagon of I know everything. I know they're going to tell me the same old thing. Let me just go and learn, because it's different. And wow, everything I needed to know was in Centonomy. And I learned I'm not just being an employee. I'm not just being, having skills. Like right now I have 60,000 that comes just off my salary, which is already a big amount. So I was like, wow. And I realized that I've been sitting on so much talent, and there's this whole thing, our generation Z, we are breaking generation curses and all of that. But how are you doing that? You've not planned yourself, you know nothing about money, you do not know anything about life, you've just started out. And I was like, okay, you know what, if I don't do anything else, I need to complete this course and do it right. So I went and I looked at, I don't have debt. That's one thing my dad ever told me. Unless you're doing it for business, nisiwa hiskia uko daderi. So at least that is one thing I knew I don't have, and I don't have debt. But the one thing I didn't know, that debt is not a big monster that you should avoid. It's a big avenue that you should look into. So I looked at the finances I have, and I'm like, honestly, what is my money? I knew about money market funds, and I had my money market funds, and also like I knew about treasury bills, but I didn't know how they worked. So me, you can't convince me anything in 2 minutes, I'm out. I'm a comms person, so if you can't convince me in 2 minutes, I'm out. And during the T-bills class, we were told about how they work and the power of compounding. And I was like, honestly, I don't need to use this money next month, but one or the other month. So what am I doing with this money in my bank? Just take it to the T-bill, take it to the bonds, and let's see how it works. And then now the class that for me was the highlight, estate planning. I don't know if anyone else got the aha moment in estate planning like I did. For me, it was like, I am not doing this shenanigans of me saying I'm breaking generational curses and just ending up in the grave with all my finances, and then they all go back as unclaimed assets to the government. That we're not doing. So when they talked about how you could plan your stuff, how you could know where your finances are, and just plan them all together and make sure that the same peaceful life you're living here, you leave your children living there. I knew about trusts, but I was like, trust fund babies. I didn't know that with whatever I have, I should even have a will. Me, I used to hear wills and I'm like, napanga tu kukufa. I'm not gonna do that. I'm those Christians who don't try to kill me before my time. So I now knew what I'm supposed to do. I never even knew that in your financial journey you're supposed to even have a lawyer, an advisor. I didn't know that. I just knew you have to have a bank relations manager, because anytime you could need a loan. And I realized truly what we think we know about money, we don't. We are just doing a guess game in life with our money, which is so bad. And that's how we are ending up you lived a good life, but at your old age, again, you're back to being the one thing that you are working so hard not to be, a pauper. And so for me, Centonomy has been a lifesaver. I would say it was an eye-opener because it's a lifesaver. And being 21 and hoping to live long, I feel like you've really saved my life from many mistakes that I was making, many mistakes that I thought were me enjoying life. And in any case, they were not enjoying life, because when I came to Centonomy, I was not told to reduce my lifestyle. I was actually told to increase your lifestyle, but also increase your earning. Yeah. So like Caroline Mutoko said, I will not reduce my income. I'll just increase my earning and increase my lifestyle. So yeah, thank you so much for the invaluable education you've given to us. And I really hope after some time, maybe if I decide to go the business route, I'll come back for entrepreneur class. And I would say you have a follow already, because these classes, I was studying them at home and my mom would follow, and she was like, that's something I'd like to do. So I'm pretty sure if she's interested, I'll be willing to bring her for Centonomy and pay for her. Yeah.